It's not over.
Stop the fight!
People.
Everybody, I come here for everybody. Kill everybody. I'm the champ. I'm the king. Kill everybody. Ah!
Okay, guys, welcome back to Broke Bets. Lane here with you. Got my co-host with me, Carson, as always.
Yo, what's up?
Yeah, not much here for UFC 303, and let's just hop right in, guys. We got first fight, great fight. Definitely card will be reorganized. I would not expect this one to be the first, but we got Charles Jourdain versus Gene Silva. I like Gene Silva. Charles Jourdain is he's on or off like in a lot of these fights, and doesn't have the greatest ground game. He has a good guillotine. He was able to hold top position on top of Kron Gracie, some other moments, but overall he can be stuck on bottom at times, but he'll drown his opponent's energy that way. Overall, though, I feel like Gene Silva's just got really good range control and cutting down range to find the power shots. And I don't think Jourdain's been finished by KO. You might have to fact check that for me, but
that is correct.
I'm going to go with Gene Silva by decision, even though he's a knockout guy. It just feels like Jourdain's able to kind of withstand the damage on the feet. So, yeah, I think it's a decision here.
Yeah, I like that as well. Jourdain was a split decision in his last one, although it shouldn't have been. He lost pretty clearly against Sean Woodson, and I think Gene Silva can outstrike him here and land the more damaging blows here. Yeah, like you said, Jourdain's never been KO'd before, but I feel like Gene Silva can go the full 15 minutes, and like he showed in the Contender Series fight, and win this by decision here.
I mean, is he going to be doing his barks the whole time? He does a pretty good bark.
Yeah,
for a fight in here.
He'll be walking in that cage barking, and he'll probably be leaving barking as well.
I just see him. He's creative. He uses a lot of different techniques. Seems to have pretty decent reach for his height as well. I know it's listed at 69 inches, but it even seems larger than that. I think maybe it's just the way he fights too. He cuts down a lot of distance. Hands are low. Has some good flair in it. I'm curious what will happen in a fight. Maybe he can't dictate the pace late, because in that Contender Series fight versus Vallejos, he wasn't dictating as much early, and he kind of let the kid feel like he had momentum, and then he just crushed him the rest of the fight. So interesting to see what would happen in the later rounds with Gene Silva here, but I like him to win this fight. So yeah. Anything else for you?
Yeah, should be a good one.
All right. Gene Silva by decision. Okay, for the next fight, we have Andrei Arlovski versus Martin Buday. Got to take Buday here. What is Andrei Arlovski doing? What is he getting paid for these shit fights that they're putting on?
More than he's worth, I would imagine.
He's always seemed to be a co-main event or up the card on a prelim on a Vegas card. He hasn't been on a pay-per-view for a minute, I don't feel like, and not really worth anything. I mean, his KO power's gone. Obviously, legend of the sport, but what are you doing fighting at 45 years old? Luckily, he's facing Martin Buday, who doesn't have crazy one-shot power. He's slow, he's unathletic, he's fat, but he can also use that fat to his advantage in a fight like this, where he can kind of control the clinch at times and wear him out against the cage, and then probably just have a little bit more output in the striking. I just have to pick KO. I'm not confident in it. I just feel like if you're fighting a 45-year-old, you got to be able to KO him. So I know I had the same thought with Waldo Cortez Acosta, and I was wrong, but Jesus, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Arlovski has 12 KO losses too, by the way. Although, yeah, he's been in the sport forever, obviously. But yeah, Buday, I mean, he's a fat slob as well, but still, I feel like he can use that size to his advantage. I mean, he's usually right at the 266 mark, and can just wear on people in that clinch, and Maybe he works in some grappling, probably not. But yeah, I mean, he's got a nice uppercut and a straight when he uses it. But yeah, mostly clinch work and just wearing out his opponent is what he's good at.
Yeah, and, him facing Gaziev's a good example of just, like, the heavyweight division. It's just, you're one of the worst ones, and you can beat all the worst ones, like Kali or like Parisian and these guys. And then, Gaziev is kind of that cutoff because he's just more athletic than Buday, and that was, everyone could tell that. So, anyway, not excited for this one. Buday by KO round 2. Okay, for the next fight, we have Payton Talbott versus Yanis Ghemmouri. Give me Payton Talbott. Ghemmouri, he's going to be on the back foot for most of this fight, and showing serious hesitation versus William Gomis. I don't see him coming into a fight like this and stopping this hype train. I mean, Talbott was in the Matrix. He was in flow state when he fought Cameron Simon. Every single time Simon went to attack, it was countered. There was anticipation. There was knees cracking Simon, left hooks, just anything and everything was hitting him. So I think Talbott just marches him down the whole fight until the third round when things just start to accumulate, and then he wants that extra 50K. So I think he finds that late finish.
Yeah, I mean, for how amazing Talbott is, he doesn't have a first-round KO or a finish for that matter. He throws a ton of volume in, and that wears people out, and it's an accumulation of damage. I feel like they put Talbott on this, what was supposed to be McGregor card for a reason. He's 25 years old. He's really young in this game, and he can be something special here. Yeah, I mean, that Simon fight, I mean, the odds were near pick'em, and he looked like a minus 1,000 in that fight. So, and this is a step down in competition, and yeah, I mean, I think that minus 1,600 or whatever it's at is not playable, but it's obviously there for a reason. And yeah, I think Talbott walks through Ghemmouri here.
Yeah, and something I like about his game too, just supreme confidence in his game. There is no nervous energy walking around. There's no scared, I'm going to get knocked out. It's just going out to exterminate. And this new generation of MMA, a lot of these guys, not to say Sean Strickland exactly even started it, but the forward pressure game of just pushing someone back the whole time and then just keeping enough range to outstrike them, it's becoming incredibly popular with guys like Joshua Van and Talbott and a lot of these really good strikers. So
yeah, he's super loose and he's not uptight. He doesn't rush anything. So yeah, he's really good, and looking forward to seeing what he does.
Let's see that highlight finish. So Talbott KO round 3. Okay, for the next fight we have Ricky Simón versus Vinicius Oliveira. Give me Ricky Simón. Just the wrestling side of things. I'm not a big Ricky Simón fan, to be honest. He's just got a very repetitive style. His stand-up is a little bit meat and potatoes, but he's just going to go for those takedowns, and his cardio is good to do so. Oliveira, fun fighter, dangerous, powerful, takes big risks, but he got taken down by Sapaj or whatever on short notice, maybe like 3 days notice, right? And then he was pretty much down a round or two to Sapaj before he gassed out, and then it kind of opened the door for Oliveira to get back in the fight. But Simón's just going to have the gas tank to play the whole fight here, so give me Simón by decision.
Yeah, I think that's the best path to victory here. I mean, Simón has the clear wrestling advantage, I think, and I think he'll use that to his advantage. Oliveira has, when he's lost, he's 3 losses, and all of them are by KO as well, too. So his chin has been tested. So we'll see if Simón can capitalize on that. But yeah, I feel like Simón will just out-grapple him here for the most part.
And we've seen Simón does have knockout power. A Sun Sao and Jack Shore he also rocked in that fight before the arm triangle. But So there is a little bit of a slugfest. Obviously, it probably helps Oliveira to get into a fight like that, but I think Simone could also find a finish, similar to how you're saying with the knockouts on the Oliveira side. So,
right.
All right, Simone by decision. Okay, for the next fight, we have Joe Pyfer versus Marc-Andre Barriault. Pyfer coming off his first loss here in the UFC versus Hermansson. I'm going to stick with him. Marc-Andre, good cardio, decent overall fighter. He's going to bring a lot more cage experience into this one, similar to how Hermansson did in the last fight, where Joe started to fall apart after 2 rounds. But I feel like for 3 rounds here, Pyfer can be the more powerful fighter, and then also pace this fight accordingly to just outbox when he has to, and then maybe get a takedown at the end of each round to secure a decision. And there certainly is a knockout threat here, but I think Marc-Andre's been on and off. He got knocked out fast by Chidi and Njokuani a while ago, but his chin seems to have done fine since, and he's been pretty active, so I'm going to say decision here for Pyfer.
Yeah. Marc-Andre Barrett's only been KO'd that one time, like you said, against Chidi, but that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fights ago. Marquez hurt him quite a bit, but he was able to withstand that, or maybe that was Andre, but he was able to withstand that and come back and win that fight. So, yeah, I mean, it should be interesting to see if Pyfer's able to get him out of there early, or if Marc-Andre Barriault's gonna be able to withstand that early onslaught from Pyfer and carry this one out to later stages of this fight. So I think Pyfer will start out a little slower, obviously gassing out in that last one. But yeah, I mean, he's got good striking, he's got good grappling, he's overall a good fighter. So I'm sticking with him here, and I think this is a nice bounce back fight for him.
He just needs some more trickiness in his stand-up. Like, he threw way too many right overhands versus Hermansson. He's reaching with punches, and the combinations aren't there. That's one big thing. I feel like that left hand's really good for him, but if he could string a jab to a right hand to a left hand, it would really create finishing sequences a little bit easier for him versus trying to one punch somebody. So, you're not the one punch man.
Yeah, probably trying to go for that highlight KO.
He's trying to beat Ngannou's record on the whatever. The thing he would kept bragging about.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Punching machine thing.
Pyfer by decision. Okay, for the next fight, we have Carlos Hernandez versus Ray Tsuruya. I'm going with Carlos Hernandez here as the underdog. It's easy for most people to look at this fight, see a odds number of minus 400 on Ray, and be like, well, I'm just going to pick him. He's undefeated. He's younger, blah, blah, blah. But I feel like just in his stance and a couple other things just don't look amazing to me. He's got a really wide stance, which opens up his legs to being kicked. Also just didn't seem extremely confident in that boxing. He's commonly throwing just the 1-2 down the middle over and over, and it didn't really seem to be particularly accurate. In terms of the grappling, great timing on the takedowns. However, the strength to finish them looked like he struggled with a lot of that. Transitions on the ground, however, were really nice. But overall, I think Hernandez just brings a little bit more experience here. He's faced a lot of grapplers here. He's faced Almirano, who likes to wrestle. He's faced Nascimento, who likes to, use jiu-jitsu. And then he's got Bonder, who has a lot of submissions to his record. And then Tyra. I mean, he survived round 1, got knocked out in round 2. But I'm going to take him by decision. I think he can just barely pull off this fight in terms of the striking. So, yeah, give me Hernandez.
Yeah, that was Hernandez's first KO loss, and it was to Tatsuro Taira, who's up and coming and is probably going to be one of the top flyweights here shortly. So I think that loss is aging well, as obviously Taira's going to continue to do good things. But yeah, I mean, this Ray guy, I mean, most of his wins are are in round 1. So be interested to see if Hernandez can withstand that early onslaught and make this a longer fight. And I think he can take over as this fight goes longer and longer. Ray's only been to 1 decision, and most of his fights are ended in round 1.
Right. And it feels like he hasn't fully even filled out. I mean, for a 125er, he didn't look too big. Obviously, I'm not going to shit on a guy that's 22 years old because there's a lot of growth that could easily happen. But at this moment, you got to stick with Hernandez, in my opinion. So maybe an underdog to look out for there. So Hernandez by decision. Okay, for the next fight, we have Michelle Waterson-Gomez versus Gillian Robertson. Give me Gillian Robertson. This is a weird fight, They, record-wise, their records are kind of like Angela Hill, where they're like, how is this person has double-digit losses, or this person, their win rate's like just over 50%. I just feel like, Michelle Waterson-Gomez, or Michelle Waterson, she has been less committed to the sport in the past, 4 years. Just hasn't been extremely impressive. She's pretty undersized for the division. She went up to 125, I believe, at one point, and was way too small for that. And mostly, man, she just uses those front kicks that are just ineffective. They don't ever really land. She does have a pretty decent grappling game, but I feel like Robertson's just going to be the better grappler here. And whoever can really get that takedown, which should be Robertson, should be able to win. I'm going to take Robertson by decision. She's subbing a lot of the really shitty girls on the ground, and then she's kind of taking other ones to later in the fight. So give me her by decision.
Yeah, Robertson's almost 10 years younger than Michelle Waterson. So I feel like Robertson will be able to find a takedown and work some of her jiu-jitsu game and control most of this fight. With top control or whatever she wants to do. Yeah, like you said, it's probably going to come down to who's actually landing these takedowns and who's going to be on top control here. And I feel like it's going to be Robertson for the most part.
Yeah, I question where motivation is for Michelle Waterson at this point. And, yeah. I mean, the striking of Gillian Robertson's pretty bad, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll take Robertson by decision. Okay, for the next fight, we have Cub Swanson versus Andrei Fili. Fun little matchup here. I'm going to stay with the younger guy, the bigger guy, and Andrei Fili. Chin got cracked not too long ago by Dan Ige, but he's used his size pretty well in his fights. He's got a pretty decent-sized reach for his height, and long leg reach, it seems like, as well. But Cub Swanson's always been this guy that uses his footwork extremely well, so I'm curious how that would play out in a fight like this. Because we have seen Andrei Fili get touched to the chin a lot prior. I mean, the Nathaniel Wood fight, he got knocked down twice. Obviously knocked out by Brito, knocked out by Ige, so that chin's a little bit questionable. I'm going to take Fili by decision. I think he just touches and moves, and we just saw Cub Swanson lose to Dawoodu, or he won, but even I think he had the post-fight interview, and he said he thought he lost, so, yeah. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it was a close fight. It should have been, Dawoodu should have been up, but yeah, it was obviously a close fight, but anyways, yeah. I like Fili touching and moving. Just the one question is his chin. Yeah, like you said, it's been cracked multiple times now. But does Swanson still have that power? I don't know. We'll see. But I feel like I gotta lean towards Fili. With his volume, long reach, and he's even hurt his opponents in his last few fights. So. Yeah, I like Andrei Fili.
Shaky fight, but this will be an entertaining one. Even though Cub's 40, he's still probably pretty fun to watch. So,
yeah, I mean, it seemed like he threw good volume as well, and made it a fun fight against Dawoodu as well. So,
right,
yeah, I feel like it should be a good fight.
Fun little pay-per-view fight. Okay, Fili by decision. Okay, for the next fight, what started off as Khalil Roundtree Jr. versus Jamal Hill, which then switched over to Jamal Hill facing Carlos Ulberg, which then switched from Carlos Ulberg facing Anthony Smith to now Anthony Smith facing Roman Dolidze. The derivatives of this fight are bizarre. Picking Dolidze. I know it's incredibly short notice, but Smith's on short notice as well. And he's been... I mean, Smith is just about the money at this point, which is fine, because he's probably getting a decent payday from taking a lot of these short notice fights. He's just done it for the past 2 years pretty often, and I just feel like Dolidze, he's coming up a weight class here. I think he's more naturally a 205er. He doesn't really have the speed to fight at 185. He's a brute, and I feel like he just wants it more. He's going to be running into Smith. Smith will kind of be hesitant on the cage, and then if Smith does go for a takedown or such, Dolidze has a really good ground game. He doesn't have very good takedowns himself, but when it does get to the ground, he's dangerous. So I'm going to take Dolidze by decision, but this is a shaky-ass fight, so...
Yeah, I don't want any part of this fight. Dolidze kind of got exposed on the big stage against Imavov in his last one. But yeah, coming up to 205 here, I don't know. Maybe he'll be a little quicker than Anthony Smith. But yeah, I just don't know. Dolidze's ground game's pretty good, but can't wrestle very well. But yeah, I mean, interesting fight, but I don't want anything to do with this one.
Yeah, I mean, the striking, I'm just gonna give Dolidze the striking just because I feel like he'll want it more. And Smith should be the better striker, promise me. But every time I see Smith fight recently, it seems like he's just not in it. He always says if John Jones wasn't good, I'd be the champion. It's like, all right, shut up.
I mean, he did play spoiler in his last one against Victor Petrino.
Petrino fucked himself in that fight, though.
Yeah, he did.
He just buried his head in that guillotine, like, yep, here you go, buddy. So, yeah, that was stupid. But yeah, Dolidze by decision. Okay, for the next fight, we have Ian Machado Garry versus Michael Venum Page. Give me Ian Garry. As much as people don't like him, this guy comes out and game plans fights very well. I'd say he's like Israel Adesanya type person of the 170 division. He's not very charming. Didn't have hype behind his name, but for the most part, fights a very safe fight and can just outstrike and outpoint a lot of people. And we just saw MVP decimate Kevin Holland, just easily beat him. But I feel like Kevin Holland just went in there, no game plan, no feeling of range, and just let the fight play out exactly how Page wanted it to. Whereas I feel like Garry doesn't play into people's antics. He never really let Jeff Neal control range. He circles the cage very well and never let Magny into the fight. Game plan D-Rod fight very well with the body kicks and the head kicks. I just feel like he's going to be able, for one, to be on a similar speed level to Michael Venom Page and then not play into the antics and point fight this one all the way through. So, yeah, give me Ian Garry. I'm going to take him by decision.
Yeah, I love this fight. This should be a good fight, but Gary's fighting opponents who are smaller than him for the most part, and Venom Page is listed at the same height but has a 5-inch reach advantage, so he uses his reach advantage as well too, unlike Kevin Holland. So yeah, I feel like it should be a really good fight. I'd be interested to see if Garry will be able to implement his game plan, working kicks and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, I feel like Page can maybe cause some problems for Garry here that others couldn't, just based on that range and how well Page uses it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious if, like, in round one, if Page were to dominate round one, if there would be a game plan change and adjustments that could be made to help Garry, because the Kevin Holland fight, it was just like, yep, Paige is going to win this in round 1, you could tell.
Yeah, I feel like the leg kicks for Garry will play a big part in this, because Paige is just
wide
so heavy,
stance, karate stance.
I feel like it should be a really good fight. I can't really pick a side, but yeah, I mean, Garry, that's all right.
No, I get you with the reach, and MVP too. Like, his main weapons are standing sideways. He has a pretty good lead kick that can come up to the head, or side kick to the body. He has some options there, and then his right hand just cuts down so much range, and it's like a bizarre reach thing, because he also twists his body and gets like that extra reach on his punch, and it's not an overhand, it's literally straight, just so straight, and it's hard to see coming. And then the elbows and the flying knees, a lot. I feel like the flying knees, though, wouldn't come into play into a fight like this, because Ian Garry won't be crouching into anything, I wouldn't imagine. So he stands pretty tall.
Maybe if he gets hurt or something, and then panic shoots a takedown. But yeah, I don't really feel like
all right.
that will,
yeah, I'm excited for this one. Are you?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Yeah, I'm also surprised they put the UK type fighters together fighting each other.
Yeah,
kind of surprising.
I feel like they did Garry because it was supposed to be a Conor McGregor card, but yeah, true. This fight in the UK would be really entertaining as well.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Ian Garry by decision. Okay, for the next fight, we have Mayra Bueno Silva versus Macy Chiasson. Give me the lesbian in Macy Chiasson. I think Mayra Bueno Silva is a lesbian too, is she?
Yeah, they both are.
Anyway, I love the underdog price here on Chiasson. I mean, she is a really big girl, and not only that, but it looks like she completely fixed her diet and her weight cutting issues. She was having so much trouble making weight 2 years ago, and now she came into her last fight in great shape, just totally dominated. And I feel like we saw Bueno Silva get stuck on the mat and be on her back, not really do anything, and Pennington just able to kind of control position. And I feel like Chiasson can kind of just out-wrestle it for at least 2 of these rounds to win. I'm a little bit scared of a submission for Bueno Silva, but I would say Chiasson can survive. We'll see.
Yeah, Chiasson's huge. 5 inches of height and 6 inches of reach. So, she's really big for this division, and she uses her size well. Likes to overpower people. I feel like she can get on top position, control the clinch. Obviously the scare is Mayra Bueno Silva submission. But if she's on her back, she's pretty much going to be losing those minutes, and just that the only worry would be tossing up a submission from her back. So, Chiasson's looked good. She was winning 2 of those rounds against Irene Aldana until that upkick liver. So she's fighting good opponents as well. So, yeah, give me Macy Chiasson. Yeah, and
Bueno Silva just had... I think she's a good fighter, but she was in such a horrible title fight versus Pennington. Just horrible decision-making. Little to no head movement on the feet. She has some decent kicks, Muay Thai, knees, and stuff like that, but just not prepared defensively for striking a lot of the time. So, again, underdog price, got to take a stab here at Macy Chiasson. So, Chiasson by decision. Okay, for the next fight, we have Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopez. Give us Diego Lopez. Dream, believe, and make it happen. This is a hype train. I believe in it. I think that this is a great matchup for someone like Diego Lopez. So you got Brian Ortega, who's got minimal head movement, good experience, good jiu-jitsu, not amazing wrestling. It prepares for an early, I think, stand-up little battle here, and if we're talking whose chin's been touched and who's taken all this damage, it's Brian Ortega. I mean, he got dropped by Yair Rodriguez twice or something in that fight. Almost got finished in round 1 before Yair kind of just gassed himself. And I feel like Diego is just, he's going to find that chin. The grappling will probably neutralize itself. I feel like it's more likely Ortega would find top position on the ground, but probably pretty hard for him to even find a submission here. So give me Lopez KO round 1.
Yeah, Lopez is a huge hype train, and rightfully so. I mean, his last 3 fights are all about minute 30. We said it breaking down the Yusuf fight that his previous 2 at that point were both minute 30 each, and he went out there and started Yusuf in a minute 30. So he's super entertaining. Yeah, I love this guy. He's got he's got the jiu-jitsu, he's got the striking power as well. So super entertaining. 33 years old or 29 years old, and I mean he's incredible to watch. He nearly submitted Evlev too in his UFC debut in short notice. So I love that kid, and I think Ortega, like you said, he's got no head movement. He does have a somewhat decent chin though. I mean, he's never been fully out KO'd. He has 2 KO losses, but one was the injury and then Max Holloway doctor stoppage. So we'll see if Lopez with that power can put him away. But I like Lopez here.
Yeah, Lopez as well. One of these guys, I think he's probably one of the biggest weight bullies in this weight class. And he's huge. He's a big fucking dude. He carries a lot of weight on his torso. I think torque a lot of power in those punches. And something I love about his game is when you got that good at jiu-jitsu, and this is similar to what Charles Oliveira kind of does with his game, is they throw a lot of power strikes because they're like, well, fuck you if you take me down. I don't give a shit. So they'll throw as hard as they want, and they don't care. So, I'm curious how this one will play out. I really like an under in this fight because I do even feel like Ortega could knock out Lopez. So we'll see. Any more thoughts?
No, I love this fight. Under and Lopez, hopefully.
All right. Lopez, KO, round 1. Okay. Welcome, guys, to the main event prediction. As always, drop a like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. And we're back to these guys filling in on short notice. Some true light heavyweight BMFs. Gotta go with Alex Pereira in this one versus Jiri. I just feel like a common phrase we like to say here, me and Carson both, is that rematches they rarely play out exactly the same. But Jiri just hasn't shown leg kick defense and defense for his chin. And it's a blessing and a curse for him. Like, it's something that, when people get obsessed with, for example, Rakic got so obsessed with kicking his legs that when Jiri started to put on the gas, Rakic just lost momentum in the fight and he couldn't take the shots. But I do feel like Alex just has that neutralizing punch, that KO power, and the combination of those leg kicks. It's just too deadly. And at minus 160, I don't think I'll pull the trigger on his price tag, but I won on him last time, and I think I'm just going to take my winnings and be happy with it from the first time they fought. So, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. I feel like, like you said, they don't always play out the same, but I feel like a lot of the same things will happen in this one. Obviously Jiri's leg got chewed up a ton in that Pereira fight, and then in that Rakic fight as well, too. He hasn't shown to be able to check those leg kicks, so I feel like Pereira will be coming out in that first round and chewing up that leg a ton. He does. Jiri doesn't have striking defense, like you said, as well either. Rakic hit a huge elbow on Rakic, who ate it, but when Pereira's got that left hook of doom, I feel like he can put him out. Hopefully Marc Goddard's not reffing this fight. I think it'll make it for a more entertaining fight, but yeah, I feel like got to stick with Pereira with that leg kick and his power.
Yeah, and it's the thing about Alex's leg kick is it's just different too. When people get touched by it, they can't walk after 2 or 3 of them, versus Rakic was kind of slapping a lot of the leg. It felt like of Jiri, and Alex just perfected that leg kick. So, also Jiri just doesn't seem comfortable fighting in southpaw because it seems so evident that he had to switch stances and he just kind of refused to do so. But something that is concerning is Alex doesn't have much head movement. You know, he's very used to MMA. Where, I mean, in kickboxing, you use those gloves to kind of cover up everything, whereas in MMA, you just don't have that opportunity. So he kind of uses his arms to tangle up punches, similar to Sean Strickland a lot of the times. And then if something does come through, he can be caught very clean because he doesn't move his head very much. And Jiri started to kind of expose that at the last couple seconds before he got knocked out. He got some clean punches off on Alex, and then obviously he just got the 12-gauge shotgun to the chin and elbowed to pretty much be knocked out. So, but yeah.
Yeah. I feel like Pereira's chin has looked better at this higher weight class than what it did at 185, but yeah, that is still true. Yeah, it should be a great fight. But yeah, I gotta stick with Pereira here.
All right, Jamal Hill's gonna be fuming this whole time.
Yeah, he'll have a front row seat too, hopefully.
I feel like, at the press conference they're probably gonna ask a question about Jamal Hill, and Alex will be really like, who's that? And then Jamal will like have his period in the audience or something. I used to like Jamal before this whole Alex Pereira deal. He just started to be such a baby, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, Pereira KO round 2. All right, guys. To recap, the Saudi Arabia betting card. It ended our 5-week win streak. Little tough results here. Only hit 1 out of the 4 bets here. And let's just talk about it. So yeah, minus 2.61 units. I think we were on like an 8-unit run or something like that. So a downward card for sure. First fight on the card opened up Long Zhao versus Chen Ho Li. Very close fight. Evident that Zhao won round 1. Seemed like Li won round 2, and then round 3 very close. Obviously, my bias, I thought Zhao won, is very close. But he kept on clinching with Li, whereas Li wanted to be with those knees. And that's really the only thing Li did the entire fight. So it's kind of hard to believe Zhao kept going in those scenarios. Overall, though, pretty decent fight. And it's a 50-50 toss-up type deal. And just go the wrong way on that decision. Prop bets. Pavlovich and Volkov, a little bit of a strange fight because it's I think Pavlovich is used to fighting so many guys that have a lack of technique that he could just steamroll through them. That reach didn't seem all that effective for him in this type of a fight when Volkov was able to use his size better than Pavlovich's reach. I thought maybe Pavlovich would get more tired fast and more of a slugfest would kind of ensue at moments, but Volkov's good at just playing it safe, and Pavlovich never wanted to fully gas himself, so he ended up just resigning kind of to a decision he easily lost there. Next one, Marc Goddard and Shara, you guys owe me some money. I totally got robbed on the Tricoli over half a takedown. He sucked. Tricoli absolutely sucked, and I didn't think he was going to win, but as we'd seen, Shara got taken down by Bruno Silva, who's not a wrestler, and Tricoli just doesn't have any leg wrestling. It was all clinch wrestling on the cage. But yeah, the one time he pulls him down, Shara has the most blatant fence grab on his way to the ground. Marc Goddard doesn't give him the position, doesn't allow him to get into a position to take another takedown, and he just keeps everything going, which was just absolutely shit. And total robbery for me. And then, The wrestling ability is horrible. The cardio was absolutely awful. I really wasn't impressed with Char at all either. Just kicking, and even he got hit quite a bit in round 1 for what a minus 650 favorite should do, and being able to finish a gas dude. Also weird, Goddard stopped and pulled Tritoli off the cage when there might have been a slight fence grab with cage, but the most blatant one of the fight he didn't do anything about, so very bizarre. Moving down, Pavlovich already broke this parlay, but Barriault and Gaziazulov or whatever, the grappling took me by surprise, but Barriault had a deep guillotine that didn't end up going through, and Barriault just needed to slug it out on the feet. Just totally did not really go for it, and the guy, killer be killed fighter just let it go the distance. I think that was like plus 800 to go the distance, so surprising there. And then the last one, I gotta be lucky. I could have easily reverse swept this card. I think the trade-off is I thought Zhao could have gotten the decision win, and then Hackprest probably shouldn't have. So seems like I got lucky there and got more money off of that result. But Hackprest, man, Jared Gordon looked good. I mean, forward pressure, his chin looked good. Obviously, we already know he's got pretty good cardio, but for a former featherweight, who wasn't the biggest in the division, put on a good fight. I mean, Hackprest had good, fast hands, but Gordon was just all over him and definitely has improved so much through his fights. Definitely a guy you just need to watch out for or go for when you're betting as an underdog. Just he getting robbed on these decisions, you could say. Or it was a close fight, but round 1, Hackprest, 2, Gordon, 3, very, very close. A lot of changes in momentum in that round. And then, of course, parlayed that with the Gafarov-Khan fight. Actually, I had to step away for this one. I couldn't really watch it, so don't totally know, but it seemed like when I was watching, I watched for like the last round, and I saw that it went over pretty easily. Bobby Knuckles, geez, light work. Feels like Hamzat dodged a bullet on that night. Rob's very motivated to get those finishes. Yeah. Didn't do the best on picks either, but I don't think a lot of people struggled, so not the best card. Great finish to it. I thought Rob's KO was phenomenal. And yeah, stay tuned for those bets coming up on the Patreon, and peace.
I know. It doesn't matter from the trenches. I'm built like this. The old doubted me said I couldn't do it. The old said I couldn't do it. Look at me now.